Chosen ones, people may be running away from you. It is not the pungent smell that envelops your nose, it is your energy that drives them away. You are different. Those who did not understand you, those who gave you mocking looks, those who waited in the shadows to watch you fall, all of them are now retreating in terror, because you did not give up. They underestimated you, slandered you, even celebrated your fall as a victory. But here you are, rising from the ashes to stun them. As you rise, their silence grows. First, they were skeptical, then they whispered, now they are laughing. But this time not with you, not against you, but at your superiority, because the joke is on them now. They see your success as a mirror of their own inadequacies. As you win, they are forced to face their own fears. But that is not your problem. You are the chosen ones. You have tried, you have fallen, you have tried again, and you have won. Their nightmare is now a reality. They have realized that you are invincible. Before I go any further, I have a question for you. If this message resonated with you and you think it is for you, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. Now choose, awaken your soul, because the best retaliation is great success. And you deserve success down to your bones. The same people who tarnished your reputation are now drowning in the dust of your successes. They have become supporting characters in the most amazing plot of the century, so grab some popcorn because this is your story. First of all, they never thought you would rise from the ashes. They laughed as if you were nothing, ignored you and moved on. They believed they had the last word, the last laugh, and the decisive victory. But they did not realize that they were experiencing the calm before the storm rather than the end. They predicted that you would remain forgotten, shattered and buried. They believed that you would never recover, never find your way back, or have the courage to stand up. And that is where they have completely failed. Because while they were busy celebrating your downfall, something was happening behind the scenes. You were changing, not just getting better. You were fueling every slight, every betrayal, every moment of uncertainty. You honed your intelligence, strengthened your resolve, and slowly rebuilt yourself. Not only did you manage to get back on your feet, you were now completely different. Those who ignored you now find it difficult to understand what they saw. Now is the time to spread God's blessings, uproot injustice, and build a new foundation of justice. You can join His plan and this holy cause by pressing the Super Thank button on YouTube. Whether it's $100 or more, every contribution is a reflection of God's generosity, and I think it will come back to you in ways far greater than you can imagine. You were supposed to be finished. You were supposed to be a joke, a memory, a warning. Instead, you have become a version of yourself that people fear and don't want to face in their private lives. They can no longer ignore you. They cannot pretend that you are not real. Every victory, success, and progress is a reminder that they made the wrong bet. Irony? They did their best to destroy you, but in the end they were preparing you for something bigger. Now that they have nothing more to say, they can do nothing but watch you rise higher than they ever imagined. Secondly, your master plan is derived from their attempts to break you. All they did was to give you the master plan, but they tried to break you. By going into the 11th, you can claim those benefits that will lead to more opportunities in your life, such as professional success, financial success, business success, health, and all the desires of your heart. You have had to adapt, think more clearly, and act more strategically because of every challenge they have thrown your way. From each betrayal you learned who was sincere and who was just pretending. Every doubt they instilled in you served as an impetus to refute them. In fact, even though they believed they were destroying you, they were creating exactly who they feared you would become. They were sure you would never understand, so they giggled as you struggled. Experience what it is really like to be chosen. You are not alone on this journey. If you believe in your heart that you have been chosen, you are in the perfect spot. By choosing to join, you can further your relationship with us, access exclusive information, and get the help you need on your spiritual journey. It's not just about joining a group, it's about gaining access to special insights that can change your life and help you get closer to your divine purpose. Make your decision now and join us on this journey. Claim your right to be one of the chosen ones. Sign up today. It is impossible to ignore the power you have. They believe that if you were rejected, you would despair and become weaker without them. But they failed to see that every time they knocked you down, you got back up stronger, more resilient, and more determined. Without realizing it, they were teaching you to become someone they could no longer manage or control. Your weapons were the teachings with which they aimed to tear you apart. Now the roles are reversed. Those who struggle to keep up with you are the same ones who question your potential to succeed. The fact that you have mastered what they believe will destroy you is too much for them to handle. The tactics they used against you are no longer effective. Mental tricks? Useless. Obstacles? You have discovered how to avoid them or how to go through them. What's the best part? This is what they did to themselves. They created the same power they don't have now. You figured out the map, but they wanted you to disappear. They wanted you shattered, but you still couldn't be destroyed. Even if they believed they were in control, they were just stepping stones on your path to greatness. Number 3, their highest awareness was your absence. They assume that you will always be there, available and easily contactable. They believe that no matter how they treated you, you would always remain loyal. So they ignored you, mocked your efforts, and ignored you. Just like background noise, they could come in and out of your existence whenever it was convenient for them. They never once considered a world where you were no longer there. Then one day you disappeared. You stopped participating, you stopped presenting yourself, and you stopped seeking their approval. After taking your time, effort, and presence, you left them to fend for themselves. At first, they didn't notice. They believed that you would come back and that you were more important to them than they were. But gradually, the truth began to emerge. The arguments started to seem pointless. Their previous level of attention began to wane. They were not as trustworthy as they believed, the same people they put in front of you. Then came regret, the knowledge that maybe, just maybe, they had underestimated your impact on their lives. If you want to express your faith in Jesus, press 22, because His presence brings a stillness to your soul. But by the time they realized how valuable you were, it was too late. You had already taken action. You had discovered new experiences, relationships, and possibilities outside of them. Now they are faced with the unsettling reality that they have something tangible, unique and real. But they have let it slip away. They believed that losing you would not affect anything. Now they have to fill a void that no one else can fill. They believed you could be replaced. It turns out that the one thing they can't afford to lose is you. Fourth, even if they wanted to be the narrator of your failure, they had to watch your success documentary. They were so sure you were going to fail that they talked as if you were already history. They giggled, mumbled, and cited your difficulties as proof that you would fail. They created stories about you to support their version of events, rewriting the story so that you failed, never recovered, and stayed exactly where they left you. They believed that they had the last word, even though reality had different ideas. They didn't understand that your story was never a story for them to share. The failures they cited as proof of your failure were just a chapter, not the end. See, I told you they wouldn't make it, they said, pointing to moments that were really the foundation for something much bigger. They can no longer change the outcome of the plot, and they have to watch it happen. The same people who ignored you now have to see your success firsthand. They cannot stop it. It cannot be rewritten. They cannot avoid it. Every victory, success, and milestone is a reminder that they were wrong about you. They tried to use you as a warning, but in the end, you were the motivation. And the best part? They are no longer part of your fairy tale. They can no longer influence the story. They are now just spectators, observing from the sidelines and discovering too late that the person they once despised has become everything they could have imagined. Fifth, their hatred served as free advertising. They believed they had destroyed you. Every rumor, slander, and insult they spread was aimed at weakening you, turning people against you and making sure that no one took you seriously. They spoke about you with great passion and zeal, sure that their words would ruin your reputation. They didn't understand that they were bringing you into the light, not bringing you down. You didn't have to pay for a better marketing strategy than their hate. As they talked, people's curiosity grew. People started listening, wondering why they heard your name. Others came to see if the negativity was real, only to discover that you were doing really well. Others stayed for the content because they were captivated by the drama. Your detractors have inadvertently become your strongest supporters, getting your name out to a wider audience than you could have done on your own. The irony is now obvious. They tried hard to damage your reputation, but they only succeeded in giving it more power. They turned your name into something memorable and recognizable. They gave you publicity, mystery, and intrigue. You didn't have to beg for attention. It was given to you naturally by those who wished for your failure. Now they have to admit that your momentum is due to their own resentment. They worked hard. They spread the word. They made everyone aware of your identity. And instead of destroying you, they have made you a force they cannot ignore. Their hatred served as a springboard rather than an obstacle. Sixth, you used their suffering to build a throne. They believed you were oppressed. To help spread God's message even further, click on the Super Thank button below and make a donation of $50 or more. Every gift is a sacred step towards the earthly expansion of God's kingdom. Every time you were rejected, ignored, or ridiculed behind your back, they felt that you were being torn apart, diminished, and made insignificant. They wanted you to doubt yourself, feel worthless, and give up. They wanted you to drown in the loneliness they imposed on you and to be crushed under the weight of their insecurities. But instead of letting their brutality destroy you, you did something they did not expect. You turned every pain, every betrayal, every difficult time into strength. Their rejection redirected you. Their ridicule became inspiration. After they leave you, you have to build such a solid foundation that you no longer need someone who shouldn't be there. The same people who tried to destroy you now have to see you succeed. They cannot understand how the same pain they inflicted on you has made you invincible. They can't understand why, despite everything they have done, you have not only survived, but you have risen stronger and higher than they could have ever imagined. And the worst part? Without them, you made it. It hurts more than anything else to realize that the person they tried to destroy not only made it, but made it bigger. They find it unbearable that you are sitting on a throne built from the stones they threw. Even if they wanted to see you crumble, now they have to watch you rule, and they will never escape this reality. Seventh, they used to laugh at you when you were in the trenches, but now they cry when they see you eating like a king or queen. They giggled loudly in public. Your dreams were dismissed as wishful thinking, and they muttered behind your back and joked about your difficulties. They giggled, rolled their eyes, and advised you to be realistic every time you mentioned your goals. They saw your hard work, sacrifices, and long hours, but instead of respecting you, they mocked you. They fed you the idea that you were trapped, that you fought and never escaped the trenches. But while they laughed, they were unaware that you were building. All the hardships, rejections, and restless nights were making you a better person. While they were spending time making fun of you, you were working hard. You didn't need their faith, support, or approval. You placed your own bets and you succeeded. Now the roles are reversed. The same people who mocked your goals are now grappling with the reality of your success. They see you living the life they said you could never lead. When they see you succeeding, shining, and winning, it consumes them. They underestimated you and they know it deep down inside. Instead of laughing, they are now silent or worse, jealous. Now knowing that they can never take back what they said, they sit where they used to mock you and watch you from afar. You used to be labeled crazy because you had self-confidence. Now they had to face the fact that they were the only humor in this story. Eighthly, your development was their biggest punishment. They never imagined that you would be better than them. They saw you as inferior, as someone who would always be behind and would find it difficult to catch up. They convinced themselves that you would always look up to them, need them, and seek their approval. Then they didn't take you seriously. They thought you would stay where they left you, ignored your determination, and failed to see your potential. But you improved, and not in a small way. You beat them in ways they didn't expect. You improved your mindset. You leveled up and unlocked a side of yourself they never thought possible. The same people who used to think you were better than them now look at you with skepticism. They can't understand how you have surpassed them and transcended the boundaries they set for you. They believed they understood you, but now they don't even realize who you have become. And that is the most painful part. Not only have you succeeded, but you have done it without their help. They believed they were vital in your path, but you abandoned them. Looking down on you used to make them feel powerful, but now a terrible sense of regret has replaced that power. They have to face the fact that you changed while they remained the same. You worked while they laughed. You created something tangible while others wasted time. Now that they are playing themselves, they can only observe from a distance. Because your growth was not only unexpected, it was their ultimate punishment. Ninth, while they wanted you to lose, you changed the game. They believed that your failure was inevitable and spent a lot of time trying to cheer you up. They believed that you would break, that you would be crushed by difficulties and die in peace. They wanted to see you fail, to see your ambitions fizzle out like so many before you, and every obstacle and setback would be the end of the story. See, we told you so. They expected you to break under the pressure of their uncertainty, but instead of collapsing, you stood up. Just not in the way they expected. Instead of weathering the storm, you transformed it into a new way of living. The fact that your journey was never about them or their expectations was something they never expected. It was about changing the rules completely. You were redesigning the way the game was played. You weren't just trying to produce it. You were creating an empire, changing the story, and subverting what they believed to be true, while they were busy pointing out your flaws. The same people who wanted you to fail are now frantically trying to capture your success. The pace you set is too fast for them. They can't replicate the tactics you used. The hardest part is that they have to accept that you are now in charge. The dynamics have changed because of you. Instead of being a statistic, as they hoped, you've become a pioneer. Now that you make the rules, they have to adapt to your game. They didn't understand that you were going to keep changing the rules of the game, but they still wanted to see you lose. Now they are the ones who have to catch up. 10th, the most deafening sound in their lives was your silence. They anticipated that you would react, that you would defend yourself, that you would get involved in their drama. They assumed you would spend your time defending yourself or begging for approval. But you chose the even more effective silence. They did not get the pleasure of an argument from you. You did not beg for their approval. You avoided petty arguments and did not stoop to their level. Instead, you acted differently. You let your actions speak louder than words, and by doing so, you have created an inescapable presence. The most deafening sound in their lives was this silence. They could not recognize you. They were afraid because they could not envision what you would do next. They found nothing but consistent progress and unquestionable success where they expected a response. By remaining silent and refusing to respond to their taunts or provocations, you showed your superiority over their petty games. And they feared this more than any conflict. They are the ones who are sleeping less now. They thought your silence was a sign of weakness, but now they wonder why you didn't respond to them in the way they so badly wanted, and they doubt everything they did. You have left them in the dark. They don't know how to deal with someone who can win without interacting. And the more people think about it, the more they realize that your silence was a strategy rather than a retreat, stronger, sharper, and louder than they could have imagined. 11th, because they expected you to beg, they are now competing for a seat at your table. They thought you would give up. They thought you would return in disarray, begging for their praise, for a second chance, for any kind of approval. They believed that you will beg for their attention and try to show your worth to those who will never see it, and your pride will crumble. So they waited and prepared themselves to turn you down one more time. They believed they were ahead, but they did not realize that your power was independent of their approval. They were always waiting for the right moment to get out of you. Now that the roles are reversed, they are the ones knocking on your door. Those who previously ignored you are now competing for a seat at your table. Those who believed you were unimportant, undeserving, or incompetent are now seeing the error of their ways. They misjudged your will, your fortitude, and your capacity to overcome the chaos they tried to create. And now they have to stand outside and watch while you prosper. They did not anticipate this. While they were waiting for you to beg, you were creating far more than they could ever provide. Now it's up to you to choose who gets involved in your fairy tale. They also learn the hard way that you don't need them. They wanted to see you fail, but now they are left frantically trying to gain control over the life they believe they can lead. Point 12. They tried to make you question yourself, but now they harbor that doubt. Haven't they made a lot of effort to sow seeds of doubt in your mind? Every criticism, belittling, and sarcastic comment was meant to undermine your self-esteem and make you doubt your worth and abilities. They wanted you to falter and question whether they were right all along. By projecting their own fears onto you, they hoped you would accept their uncertainties as your own. They wanted you not only to fail, but also to question whether someone like you could succeed. But they never imagined that you would be able to overcome it. You always managed to stand higher when they tried to make you feel small. Instead of being the debilitating force they expected, every doubt they sowed fueled your resolve. And now the irony is almost unbearable. They now live every day with the very doubt they tried to force upon you. What is their worst nightmare? Admitting that they were wrong about you. They have been shown to be completely wrong by the very person they tried to convince that they were unfit, unable, or doomed to fail. They can no longer deny your strength, success, or progress. And now it is they who doubt everything rather than you. They are disturbed by the same skepticism they tried to instill in you and wonder how they could have been so wrong. After all, they believe they could make you question yourself. They didn't realize that in the process they were only planting seeds of introspection in their own thinking. Now they have to deal with the consequences of their own misjudgment. The 13th point is that even though they believe that you needed them, they actually needed you. They believe that you cannot live without them. They believed that they had the ability to make or break your path and that they were the secret to your success. They always made sure to tell you how much you needed them and how little you could do on your own when you showed ambition. They encouraged you to think that your worth depends on their support and that you cannot move forward without their consent or presence. The people who held you steady believed that they were your foundation. But in reality, they were wrong. They were never essential to your success. They ignored the fact that the true source of your excellence has always been you. You had the will, the power, and the vision all along. They believed they were the lead actors in your story, but they were just extras. Now they have to accept the fact that they were never as important to your success as they once believed. The final change? They are now the ones who feel empty. They are the ones who now have to think about where their excellence comes from. They couldn't see the bigger picture because they were so intent on holding you back and making you feel worthless without them. They are realizing how meaningless their life is without you. They assumed that they were the ones who gave them value, so they took your presence for granted. But now they realize that it is you who brings success, meaning, and purpose to the situation. They no longer need you, quite the opposite. And as they see you flourishing without them, they cannot help but regret that they underestimated your power all along. No one, not even those who believed they knew you best, could have foreseen the story of your eventual rise. They made an effort to define you, to keep you down, and make you question your worth. They believed they had power over your destiny and tried to set limits and imprison you. But you managed to escape. You broke their expectations. You didn't just challenge them. You seized every challenge they presented and turned it into motivation for your ascent. For every insult, rejection, and attempt to break you, you became stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Now they are forced to observe as you surpass them, and your success comes in unexpected ways. They believe they could push you into the background, silence you, or break you. However, your silence ultimately said more than words ever could. Your greatest response was your success. And as they watched from the sidelines, they were confronted with the heartbreaking truth that they did not write your story. They were just characters. Moreover, they didn't realize that your journey was always bigger than theirs. You have done more than refute them. You have shown the world and yourself your true power. The people who tried to destroy you are now wondering how you were able to succeed without their approval. Resilience. Never letting the doubts of others determine your worth is what makes you great. not just skill or effort. And nobody can take that away from you, my friend. So let them observe. Let them experience the pain of regret. Because while they were busy trying to destroy you, you were busy creating an empire they could never touch. You've already triumphed. What's the best part? You did it on your own terms. If this narrative resonated with you and made you reconsider what you believe to be true about your trip, don't go. Stay put. This won't be the last time you hear something that questions the status quo and turns the narrative on its head. So hit the subscribe button. Anyone who questions their abilities or feels the pressure of other people's expectations should like, comment, and share this. Don't let the world remain ignorant of these truths. Let's start by discussing what it means to climb beyond and redefine success. Your support is not only valuable, but it is the momentum that keeps the movement we have created here going. Come together, and let's continue to evolve as a tribe.